Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of North Coast Craftsmen. My name is Dalton. In today's video, I'm going to be busting these tables out of the forms, building a router sled, and then teaching you guys how to flatten using a router. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Let's get started. First thing we need to do is take all the screws out of the forms that are holding it together. And then once we get that done, we can slowly start to peel off the sides. And then we will just have to peel it off of the bottom base. To peel the slab off the bottom, you're going to need a screwdriver and a hammer. Pound the screwdriver underneath and just slowly lift up, and the slab will pop right off the base. I'm having a little bit of trouble with the second one here, so 2 screwdrivers or a screwdriver and a chisel will help you pry it off easier. Now that that's done, onto the router sled. This is a simple design that can be put together fast and cheap. That's why I like it so much. The first piece I'm cutting will be the base, where the router will sit and slide. To find this measurement, go to the base of your router and measure, then add 1/8 of an inch for a little extra wiggle room. Then on the miter saw, cut it to whatever length you need. Now set your table saw fence to 2 inches and rip 4 pieces. 2 of them will be your sides on the sled itself, and 2 will be the rails your sled rides along. Now at the miter saw, cut 2 at the length of your sled base and 2 however long your rails need to be in order to flatten the entire top. Now once this is done, you can screw together your 2 side rails to your sled base, like so. Now we trace where our router slides along and cut the middle out with a drill bit and a jigsaw. Now to finish our sled, we need to finish our side rails. Take the 2-inch pieces we cut earlier and attach them to 1x4s, making a T. This will represent what the sled slides across on each side. Set your piece inside the rails and decide where you want your side rails. And then screw or clamp the rails in place. Now we make side rail guides to go on our sled by screwing small pieces on our sled that keep it on our side rails. This makes it so our sled glides evenly down the track. Once you have everything complete, add a little lubricant to make sure nothing binds and everything slides down the track nicely. I usually use some sort of silicone spray lubricant. Depending on the thickness of your piece, you may need to use some shims to bring the piece up to the height so that the router has enough depth to reach it. To do this, I went to my scrap pile, found a couple of pieces that were about the same size, made sure that they were the same size, then attached them to my piece using double-sided tape. Once that was all taken care of, I set the depth on my router and I began flattening. So the key to this process is to go slow. Only take off between a 1/16 and an 1/8 inch of material per pass. If you take off more than that, you won't get a very clean cut and you'll have a lot of sanding to do. I'm using a 1-inch flattening bit and it took me about 10 minutes on each pass. My material is roughly 26 by 18, so I don't have a whole lot of material and it's taking me 10 minutes. So this is a pretty slow process. It is also an extremely dirty process, so if you have a dust port on your router, I suggest using it, or a vacuum between each pass works pretty well too. Even though this jig definitely has its downfalls, I really enjoy using this because it gives me a chance to surface material that I would never be able to surface otherwise. Now flip it over and do the back, start sanding with 80 grit, and here's what you got. If you enjoyed the video, like and give me a comment, and if you think I earned it, subscribe. Stay tuned for next week where I finish sanding, we put the finish on to make this table pop. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next week.